movie tries to mess with your brain and you refuse at first, but then they succeeded, so you just sit there and be like, while inside you're like, no way, no way, no way, you liar. That's how I feel when I watch this movie. Good morning, afternoon, evening everyone. Hi, my name is Myra and welcome back to my channel. Now before I start, I want to remind you to click that bell button besides my subscribe button so you will be notified if I upload something new. Oops. I just did something that has to do with Christmas lights before this, so I decided just to put them on, just to cheer up my room. I hope you guys don't mind. The first thing before the intro of my video is a response to the conclusion of this movie. So if you are confused, please watch until the end. If I could, I would bang my fist on the table because it was just so mind-blowing and I just it's so good. Okay, Myra. Just breathe. Just breathe and try to explain as best as you can. Okay. The movie starts with an explanation about how the Tyrell Corporation is no more and was bought by a company called, I believe it was Wallace Corporation? It's something Wallace, where they start to manufacture replicants again. With these replicants get regular jobs and just not as a slave anymore. One of those replicants is Kay, a Blade Runner, whose job is to hunt down other old replicants that are still alive and is considered as an outlaw of some kind. Bottom line, those old replicants must be erased from existence. And the opening of the movie showed us just that. Kay beating down and eventually killing a Nexus 6 replicant. But after killing him, Kay found something that would eventually lead him to a much bigger and much more important scenario. And eventually it led him to Neander Wallace, a forbidden romance, and of course, Rick Deckard. The plot itself is a bit complicated to explain, so I will let you watch the movie first, and if you haven't, please don't continue at all. It will ruin the magic of this beautiful sci-fi noir awesome movie. Stop it if you haven't seen it, please. So, my first reaction of the movie is similar to the first one. Yes, I did watch the original Blade Runner. This is going to be a really long movie with really stretched in between scenes and possibly mind-melting music. And it was true. The first scene is impressive enough, really showing that Kay is actually a replicant. In the first movie, Harrison Ford, or better known as Rick Deckard, Officer Rick Deckard, is known as a human because no replicants can have real human jobs, or that's what I gathered from that first movie. And of course, Officer K's job is really awful, to hunt down replicants like himself and eventually killing them. But this particular job leads to a revelation that a child from a replicant is born and somewhat alive, somewhere unknown. Once he reported that to his superior, Kay's job is to eliminate the loose end of this predicament, meaning he also has to kill the child and everyone involved, including ex-officer Rick Deckard. That led to another thing and another thing that I might not even have the time to talk about because since there are so many things to discuss. But I'll try my best to point out the best part of this movie. This is so hard. First of all, having replicants doing a regular job instead of just being slave on another region of the planet is actually, for me, I think it's a given. Like in real life, technologies are evolving and apparently replicants are too. So I wasn't surprised about the job thing. But shouldn't replicants having a baby is also a given? They might be some kind of android, but they are also based on human beings, body and all. And they can still bleed and they can still work. physically like a human. Maybe with super strength or whatever, but they are still human. So I wasn't that surprised to find Rachel, the main female protagonist of the first movie, actually pregnant with Rick Decker's baby. What did surprise me is who the actual baby was. It blows my mind to be innocent back. The movie worked quite hard to make us, the viewers, believe that Kay was the child in question. It starts with the memory that Kay has, the one that he believed was implanted, and turns out, after consulting to a memory implanter specialist, it was a real memory and not a fake one. Then there's the forged or fake evidence about how a girl and a boy have the same DNA sequences, which is not possible in any universe apparently, but the girl died while the boy is alive and well. Then there's the date and the horse. It leads up to the conversation between him and the girl who can make and implanted memories through replicants to make everything for the replicants feel so much more real. The way Kay's emotion turned from nothing to everything is amazing to me. Makes me so much harder not to believe that he wasn't the child in question. And I believed it so much. So when Kay met Deckard, I was waiting for some kind of emotional scene, but of course that's not what I get. I was still waiting when Kay and Deckard suddenly got caught by Love. I think that's how I pronounce her name, Love. The crazy Nexus 9 replicants who is also Wallace's right hand. And I haven't even talked about Wallace here, bear with me because I will talk about him in some kind of fangirl manner later. And then the movie decided to blast that Kay wasn't actually Deckard's child? What? That he's just a piece of the puzzle? What the? Needless to say, I was utterly shocked and got it. Not that I'm disappointed, I am actually quite happy about how the movie turned out, but I just didn't expect the outcome to be that way. Of course, like I said many times before, me being surprised by a conclusion is always good, because for me, that's how I know how the movie is great. But now I will talk about a more technical stuff before jumping into characters later. I noticed some similarities between this movie and the precursor, which is the extensive interior shot of the city and the wah music in the background, which is fine to me. But unfortunately, they also followed the kinda slow revelation and the really stretched storylines that just makes me want to sleep sometimes. I mean, I watched the movie with my mom and she literally snoozed. But not me. I want to know how the story ends, and I was curious, and thank flippin' goodness the story pulled through. I would never thought in a million years that Deckard's child would actually be a daughter, and she will actually be the mind storyteller specialist thing, whatever. That girl, you know who I'm talking about, you know. But once it was revealed, I started thinking about the possibility of her being his daughter. I mean, she was born out of a replicant, a copy of a human but not really a human. Therefore, she might not be as strong as a regular human or even a regular replicant. That's why she can't really go outside and she can only work indoors, in a regulated chamber even. She works in the memory business, maybe because she wants to create good thoughts to overlap her bad ones, and eventually send some real thoughts to other replicants, as known as K in this matter. That whoop-de-doo, that memory conveniently lead to her real father, and of course, almost started a civil war between humans and replicants. Like no biggie. No biggie at all. Apparently, me talking about the technical stuff in this movie actually makes me talk more about the story of the movie. But I hope you're following me on this. The storyline is what makes this movie so interesting. It started from Kay doubting himself, then we see his relationship with a computer program, then there's his quest to find out more about this mysterious past of his, and the connection of his past with something much more bigger. Then there's Wallace and Love waiting for Kay's predicament to play in their favor, a budding war between replicants and humans, then Deckard having a daughter. The story branches keep going on and on and on and on. And I think whether you enjoy science fiction or not, if you want a movie with a good and complex storyline, you will love this. You will love this a lot. Now, before I ramble more on storyline, which could lead me to just repeating myself over and over, let's talk about characters. There are three things. This is 5. There are 3 people that I want to talk about, and the first one is Joy, played by Ana de Armas. I think that's her name. She's pretty, she's thoughtful, she's sweet, and she's a program. Apparently, she is also made by Wallace Corporation to be the most and perfect companion to anyone, really. Only, she doesn't have a physical body, and Kay is in love with her so much. I like the idea of a female protagonist that actually doesn't exist in real life, mostly because I rarely see the relationship with a character like her and another protagonist feels so real. I am sure there are other characters like her that I haven't mentioned, but her having a personality actually can speak for herself, even though she's just a pixelated image, is refreshing. And to tell the truth, she's even more human than any humans that appear in this movie. If there is any human in this movie, I honestly can't differentiate it anymore. The next one is Love, played by Sylvia Hooks, the cold-hearted Nexus 9 that can scare me to the bone. I don't quite get her motivation for doing what she does, but I think it's not just because she is following orders, but she wants to prove that she's the best replicant of them all. She's pretty, but also deadly and very scary. But not as scary as the last character that I wanted to talk about, which is Neander Wallace, played by none other than Jared Leto. I swear, no one should ever judge him anymore for not being scary enough or good enough as the Joker, because he nailed this part. He scared me off so bad that I just want to just curl in my seat and whimper all day. He is smart, counting, definitely crazy in ways that I cannot even imagine, and that's what makes this character so good. He doesn't even talk that much for me, and even though when he does, it weighs a lot. He just have a very terrifying aura around him. Jared Leto did such a good character. I'm in awe. Bottom line, should you watch this movie? If you can bear the lengthy storyline, then yeah, sure. Why not? If anything, I recommend everyone to watch this movie. That is, if you do love a good storyline and a great plot twist that doesn't upset you in the end. As far as sci-fi goes, this is one of the best that I've seen so far. So, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Facebook and Instagram, because let's switch stories. Let's fangirl together, because that's always cool in my book. What am I doing? I don't even know. Again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see